I was asked by Space Coast Woodturners to do a demo. Actually, my demo is going to be done at February's meeting, 2025. This is a Laurel Oak lidded box, and my wife asked for two more of them. So that's what we're going to do this one on. This is rough stock of Laurel Oak, and I've got one already in the round. It's 8 inches across. Both of them are 8 inches. But what I want to do is I want to make two different lidded boxes that are going to be at different heights than this one. So she'll have a set of 3 different heights of lidded boxes. I got my square stock on here, and all we do is just going to round this up until we've got it all cleared. We're going to run at 1700 RPMs. It up pretty good because we're about even right here and here. All right, I want to talk about this tool right here. This is a roughing gouge. This is a Carter and Son roughing gouge. I absolutely love this tool. I love the weight of it. The head, the piece up top is heavy. Mine didn't go too long because you're actually working right down here, so you don't want it too long for you. And I didn't go real big on the handle. It just has a wonderful feel. So you can clear up pretty good. And she's doing just that. Got to take her down a little further yet. We got a bit right in here to clear out. That's a lovely piece of wood. A little hump right there. Clear it one more time and that's it. Alrighty, I'm done with my roughing gouge, and now I'm going to sand this up a little bit. And you notice the dust and where it's headed? I've got a set of fans right on my wall right here that make it very easy for me to stand here and not have any dust coming towards me. Okay, I've got my cylinder all set here, and now we're going to make two lidded boxes out of this. We're looking for 3 different size boxes here. This current one is 2.5. First thing you got to do is we got to get our tenon on the backside. So we're going to allow for a 1/4 inch, and we'll allow 3/8 of an inch on the backside, and we'll take another 3/8 of an inch on this side. By doing this, I've got a 2.5, a 3, and a 3.5 inch high box. So this I think will work out quite well, and that'll give me enough room in here to actually use my tools to put the tenon on. That'll work out real good. Putting the tenon on each end is the easy part. The one in the center is a little bit more, got to be more cautious because you have to separate the two of them. So I'll take it down to a point where it's just enough, and then I'll cut it with a saw. Now here, I'm going to take the center of it down deep enough so I can just cut it off with a quick couple of strokes with the saw. But I don't want to separate it because this is going to bind and catch up with everything else. And before I do that, I'm going to touch up that nick. What I want to do now is I want to mark my lids so I know, I want the lids to look the same. So I'm going to mark it down. So now I know my lids are going to be the right size. So I want to cut everything below that line. And then I can round this off later. Separated safely without having to worry about it. This I have to take care of, but I can clip this onto my small chuck and fix this up, and then I can flip it around and do what I want. These are actually quite heavy. These are Laurel Oak. You know, I have 2 different sizes there. All right, I've got my tenon put on here. This tenon is good, so I'm going to put this one on first, and we're going to fix the other one, which was the one that was in the center. And I said you're going to have a little nipple sticking right here. All right. And now we can adjust this if we want to. Now I know that this one is in round with the one behind it. So when I put this back on, she'll be fine. All right, now I'm going to separate these 2 pieces. Actually, I'm going to round this edge here because this is going to be my base. I'm going to just put a little round on it, not much, because I want it to match the one I already have. So if you see the edge here, it's just barely a little radius. It's probably a 16th inch radius. And this has got a little bit of a concave in it, so it sits comfortably on the dresser. Because these do warp. So you got to be careful. You don't want to have too wet of wood. This is running around 13% right now.
All right, we're going to separate this, and this is where you're going to need to be a little bit more careful, not with the lid so much as the base, because we have to create a lip. Well, this is going to just get cut straight down through, but this one has to be cut through, and you got to have enough room for your tool to get in here. All right, so you're going to have to make that a little bigger than you want to, and then you have to leave a lip, but you want to be in deep enough so this piece can sit right on top of it. Right, it's not that tricky. It sounds like it, but don't worry about the top. That gets done next, separately. So the bottom is what we really want to make sure that we have this. And I like one actually a little taller than that. All right, so we're going to go a little taller. We're going to start with just making our line like a pencil mark. And that's our lid. You can drive that right in. It doesn't make any difference how far we go in. Right. But now we want to make a cut for the lid. As it sits right now, as you're looking down on that, there is a lip that looks similar to the other one. But if I try to drive my parting tool all the way through to the center, it will get so tight in there I won't be able to, it'll catch. So I need to make it wider so that I have a little slop in my, so what I got to do is I got to open it up. I'm just going to take about half the width of my tool. I drive in, slowly drive in. But now, see my lip that's on top is too small. So you have to come back a little bit. Yeah, just a hair more. And go just a little deeper. All right, so my base is all set, my lip is all set, and now I've got to separate it. And that is all it takes. So I'm fine with that. We're going to take my saw and we're going to cut through that. You really don't want to hit the top or the bottom, either way. So just lightly cut through. There it is. Now I have my bottom and I have my top. You can do these very quickly, actually. That's it. All right, now we're at the exact same spot we were before, and we have to separate this. So I know that the pencil mark is my top, so we can just drive in. There it is. There's our bottom. And our top. All right, now we got to clean out the inside of the bottom here. And it's not really difficult. It's like doing a bowl. This is the deeper of the two. And I actually have a tool that makes this even easier to do. And that is called a box scraper. This has a bevel edge on it, so I can actually drive this down along the outside edge. I'll clean it out with my other tool first, and I use this to clean up with. This is not totally dry, so what I want to do is I want to leave this lip on the top here a little bigger than I normally would leave it, just so after it goes out around, I got enough room to actually be able to cut it again. I'm going to leave it twice as thick as I normally do, only because it's still got moisture in it yet. I'm going to take it a little bit further back. All right, the bottom's done. It's got to sand up the inside of it and take the tail off of it. But I'm not going to do that now because I want to get the top to fit this. So what I want to do is I want to make this outside edge thicker than it needs to start with. This is what I mean by creeping up on it. You can tell that's not It's not there. So we're going to bring it in. But we're going to do this a little bit at a time. All of a sudden, she's going to go and be sloppy. So you want to go real slow. Oh, we are like right on it. So now you have just a hair. There it is. So it lines up right where she's supposed to be. That'll work. Question also is it deep enough? Yes, we're resting right up against the hub.
All right, I'm going to flip the bottom around and put it into my chuck, just catching the rim. You do not want to tighten it up too tight, though, because you'll leave marks on your rim. So just snug it up, and then we'll bring the tailstock up. Now I've got it flipped around and put on my coal jaws, and I'm going to put the lid on. But to hold the lid in place, I am going to use painter's tape. I know it doesn't seem that strong, but actually works quite well. I'm going to make 2 layers all the way around and seal it in nice and tight. That's all I'm doing, as you can see, is just pushing it down in. And then I bring my tailstock up against the end and hold it, and then just very lightly take off the tenon. And then I'm going to turn around and take the tailstock away and just lightly remove the little nipple that's left.
This is the finished one. This is varnish that's on here. I got the coat on the backside, so I know this was done in 2021. It's a 33rd bowl, and I did it with varnish. So I will do these with varnish just so it matches up with the same type of finish. But these are all done. Line up the grain so that everything is right up and matches up. Now that these are all done, these have to sit for probably about 2 weeks before I'll put a finish on them, because then I can put them back on the lathe before I put the finish on it and just straighten them out if they're having any trouble closing, because these will warp. And you don't want it to warp so much that it doesn't close, you can't put the lid back on. So if I don't put a finish on it, that way I can put it back on the lathe and just use a little touch up with sandpaper to make it fit back in again. So, that's the way I do it.